Welcome to the podcast hosted by timecam.com on how to stay on top of your work.
Hello guys, welcome back to the series of podcasts Stay on Top of Your Work. It's Kate, your host, and today my guest is Helena Demuynck. Hi Helena, how are you? I'm happy to have you here today.
Hi Kate, I'm fine and I'm very happy and eager to share my expertise with you today.
That's so great. So Helena, I'd like to ask my guests to introduce themselves a little bit because I think everyone is different and everyone has a different story. And I think it's inspiring and it can help people to somehow pursue their goals. So can you say a few words about yourself and what do you do?
Okay, well, actually, so I'm living in Belgium. I'm very internationally focused, and I started my own business when I was 25. I started a recruitment agency focused on finance and legal profiles. I've done that for 22 years, and 22 years is quite a long time in the same profession. And more I've felt a need with my candidates, the candidates that I interviewed. I felt that the reason they were leaving their position was not really because they were really looking forward towards the new position, but mainly because they were struggling with what was happening in their present position. And in a lot of the cases, they were promoted based on their expertise, but in order to be successful at a certain level, they needed other competencies and other skills than their technical expertise. And that was mainly leadership. So after 22 years in recruitment, I defined a new mission for myself, and that was supporting financial and legal profiles and leadership development in order to be more successful in their higher level positions. Now, I have to be honest, after a very short time, that completely derailed, because once you start in leadership coaching, it's not relevant if the profiles are financial or whatever. So at this moment, I am coaching all types of profiles, executives, but also senior leadership teams in leadership development.
Wow, that sounds really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about leadership and how to be a good leader. What skills a good leader should have according to you? I know this is probably a quite wide topic, but can you give us a few main points which are important according to you?
Okay. Now, this is very personal, but when people talk about leadership, they most often use it in the context of managers leading a team. In the work I do with clients, it's very clear that leadership starts with leading self. It is essential to have a clear view on your own purpose, on your own direction, your goals, your values, in order to lead or influence others. Okay. And how to be a good leader, if you want to put it in a business environment and if you want to put it in leading a team, there's no one fit for all answer to that. But when you look at research, for example, Gallup's research, they say great leaders have 5 qualities, and everybody will recognize those. It is about motivating employees with a compelling mission and vision. It is about having the assertiveness to drive outcomes towards results. It's also the ability to create a culture of clear accountability. A good leader also builds relationships that create trust, dialogue, and full transparency. And they make decisions based on productivity, not on politics. That's quite, isn't it? But I think this really represents very well what a good leader should be aiming at.
Yes, that sounds like a good leadership skills, I think. So I agree with you. And what do you think are the challenges leaders meet? I know this is also a wide topic, but the main basic aspects.
The challenge I focus on in my work with leaders is how to lead in a VUCA world. So a VUCA world, I guess a lot of people understand it. It is a world that is volatile, it is uncertain, it is complex and ambiguous. And leaders are not only leading in present time, but they also have to be prepared and prepare their teams for the future, where a lot is volatile and uncertain. So we might need different leadership competencies in order to be successful in the future. So this is what we call the transformational leadership. So we work on how to be successful now, but still be successful within a year, within 2 years, when situation, context might be completely different. And another challenge that we face is the fact that leaders ask themselves, what kind of leadership must we demonstrate in order to create trust? Because what we see in business and politics and communities are not always good examples of leadership. Okay, so how do leaders cope with the perception that leadership is deteriorating? And what we do there is we build an authentic leadership. Harvard Business Review has defined authentic leadership the gold standard for leadership because research has shown that authentic leaders create more trust with their employees, and higher trust has been shown to be associated with bottom line outcomes such as increased employee performance, workplace satisfaction, and overall commitment to the job. And this authenticity also impacts customers. If customers feel like the service that they are being given is more authentic, then they are more likely to buy or invest in a service. So there's a lot to say about authentic leadership. It's one of my focuses, absolutely. It also has been linked with increased creativity, which is also an important need for businesses in today's fast-paced, complex, and ambiguous world, where constant change and innovation are required to get ahead of the competition. So basically, how to be authentic is also a big challenge.
Exactly. And you have a program for coaching programs for authentic leadership growth. So I'd like to ask you about this program, but also what does it mean to be an authentic leader and how to do that?
Okay. Now, the programs in authentic leadership growth I offer, they are diverse in order to meet the requirement of different needs. And they vary from an intensive 3-day retreat in Andalusia to a 1-year coaching journey that could be face-to-face, live, or virtual. Additionally, I developed 3 coaching programs where executives can embark on a self-paced coaching journey on the topics that are relevant for them. But all programs for authentic leadership growth are focused on defining your true self and finding your true north. It is about developing a vision in alignment with your values and build leadership principles on those insights. That's basically. So what does it mean to be an authentic leader? There's so many written on that, but I would say authentic leaders demonstrate 5 qualities. They really understand their purpose. They are practicing solid values. So it's not only that they know their values, but they are also practicing them. They lead with the heart. Okay, they don't only lead with the head, but they lead with the heart, and they establish connected relationships. And the last one I would say is they demonstrate self-discipline.
Okay, that sounds good. So now I'm thinking about young people, and especially young women who enter the world of business and leadership. And is there any advice that you would give to such people, and maybe not only women, but to all young people who enter that world, how to find yourself, how to stay motivated?
Absolutely. I would say take ownership. Take ownership for your development, take ownership for your leadership growth. Embark on the programs that your organization is offering you, if they are. If they are not there, or if they are not there yet, then do it yourself. Read good books, join communities, explore the web, find role models inside and outside your organization. Ask people that you really admire to be your mentor. So you can do a lot yourself. I would say do not rely on what the organization is offering you or what they are not offering you. When you say women in leadership, I work a lot with women in leadership because I want to contribute to the gender equality in organizations, and there are some challenges there. And we hear a lot about organizations can do a lot in order to enhance leadership development with women. Government should do things. But additionally, I would say we can take, again, the ownership of developing our strengths and using them in our leadership. So that's why one of the authentic leadership coaching programs I developed are specifically focused on women in leadership roles with the ambitions to build the competencies and the skills and a community of support for women. So because there's some extra dimensions there. I'm not sure if we should go there because otherwise this interview might last very long, but we can do a lot. As young women, as young people, as millennials in general, we can do a lot.
So with your experience in the work, do you think that female perspective on leadership is different than male? And is it still the inequality? Is it still a problem, or maybe it's not?
Let's say, this is really black and white, but let's say that there are differences between female and male leadership in general. Men and women tend to have two distinctly different leadership styles that shape how they run their teams. Okay, so several studies show that women tend to use what's called the transformational leadership style, the one that is very high promoted in a lot of research and a lot of books. And this is a style where leaders and their followers raise one another to higher levels of morality and motivation. So picture the female leader who, instead of sitting in her office all day, frequently visits her team members while they're working to offer guidance, to offer encouragement. Because for most females, leadership isn't just about accomplishing goals. They want to transform their followers into better people. Do you recognize that, Kate?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Now, males, on the other hand, they tend to favor the transactional leadership style. And this is more the, excuse me, man, the old school leadership style, where leaders are dominant figures with strict expectations and should not be questioned. So to understand transactional leadership, picture the boss who sits in his office giving orders, receiving progress updates from his employees, but rarely engages with them on a personal level. They're more focused on the results. Okay. Now, this is very black and white. I use this example mostly in order to have a discussion started because, of course, there's a lot of in-betweens, the extremes of the spectrum. But this is basically what research shows. And both leadership styles have benefits and limitations depending on the environment. The more female transactional leadership style has been shown to be more effective in people-centered work environments that become more and more popular today. And their natural inclination to support their subordinates' personal growth and to emphasize open communication allows them to create comfortable work environments and inspire exceptional results. But transformational leadership isn't entirely bad either, because the benefits is the team have more autonomy, which work for quiet, logical people who want to do their jobs without dealing with a leader who frequently interrupts them or forces them to work with others. And also, it is about getting results. It is about contributing to the bottom line. So ideally, both men and women balance both styles and use them situational based on what is really effective and relevant for the situation at that moment. Okay.
Okay, so I'd like to ask you, what inspires you in your work?
I strongly believe that creating a better world for everybody. Developing leadership skills at all levels in organizations, communities, in the political landscape, so let's say everywhere, will contribute to a better world. And it is a world where we can focus on the potential, where we can help each other to achieve greater things. And this is really what makes me tick. It is about making people aware that we are responsible for what we do, for the choices we make, for the values that we strive for, and I believe we can do a lot better.
I have to agree with that. Okay, so I also have a question about your work and maybe the number one rule in your work which helps you to deliver the best results and maybe, stay on top of things.
Well, actually, I really love what I do. So what I do is not really work. It just comes natural. But But what I do in order to be able to deliver at a high level is I connect with other leadership experts around the globe so we can co-create solutions that are relevant to my clients. And of course, technology is a huge lever. Through technology, we can develop platforms that enable leadership development. We create leadership communities at a global scale. So there's a lot of interaction, and basically I'm learning every day, because having this great contacts with people that are in different cultures at different levels with different views, being open to the contributions there is really keeping me up to the level that I want to have, and that I believe can contribute to support other leaders to develop.
So I have one last question to you. What do you think we should do in order to improve our work and to maybe be better for each other? Do you think there is any way to do that, or maybe not?
What we need to do is installing a good communication with ourselves, so we are aware of where we are, what we stand for, and how we can express ourselves, and then establishing true, transparent, and constructive communication with other people, based on empathy and based on the willingness to help each other grow. And it is about seeing the world as a place of abundance, where when you share things, where you give things away, it doesn't mean that you lose something, because there's so many expertise, there's so many things that we can do for each other that cost very little time, that cost some effort, that cost no money, and that help people to believe in themselves and build their own development, and also that way see the possibility to do that themselves, to be the mentor or the role model for other people. And this is basically a process that can be ongoing. Yeah. Is that an answer to your question?
Yes, it's a perfect answer. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Helena, thank you very much for the interview. It was really inspiring and I really enjoyed it.
Okay, thank you. I enjoyed doing this.
We enjoyed it. Did you? If so, make sure to subscribe. You can listen to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Subscribe to get more interesting pieces of advice on different topics, not only leadership. And what did you learn from Helena today? Let us know in the comments section below. And stay tuned for the next episode. That was Kate. See you next time. Bye-bye.
This podcast was brought to you by TimeCam. You can listen to it on iTunes and SoundCloud. Subscribe to get more content and always stay on top of your work.